Hi, and welcome to episode 12 of the Carla Knits podcast. My name is Carla, and I'm a knitter and crocheter, and I love all things yarn, and I live in Nebraska. Today is Wednesday, May 5th. This is not my usual recording day, but I'll get into that a little bit later. So it's a little earlier maybe than expected, but hey, that's okay. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as cbcraftygirl, and we do have a group for this podcast on Ravelry, Carla Knits. There is some activity going on over there. There's a welcome thread if you'd like to join and introduce yourself. We also have a make-along going on right now, which started on May 1st, and it goes through June 20th, so plenty of time to hop on board and join us. It is a spring stripes make-along, so anything with stripes. Could be socks, hats, sweaters, cowls, shawls, weavings, anything having to do with stripes. So there is more information in the Ravelry group about that, and again, love to have you join us for that. All right. Well, like I said, it is May 5th, Wednesday. It is a pretty dreary day here in Nebraska, but that's okay because then I get to wear some knitwear, which is great. So, I am wearing, the shawl. This is Changing Staircases by Hoard Designs. She also has a yarn company, Hoard Yarns. Changing Staircases. This is a free pattern on Ravelry. I have made two of these. One I gifted a while ago. But this is a great pattern for if you have a special skein of fingering weight yarn. This is a great one pattern to use for that. The yarn in this one is by Voolenvine, not typical Voolenvine yarn, at least her color palette right now. This was a 2017 colorway. It is called Reef Madness, and she did a collaboration with another yarn dyer, I can't remember who, where they offered each a skein of yarn together as a collaboration. But this is Voolenvine. Reef Madness, this bright green. Yes, it really is this bright. So I'm enjoying putting this on today. A little brightness in a cold, dreary day here in Nebraska. I don't have any finished objects today for you, so we will get right into works in progress. So we will start with my pink shawl. Let's see. And this is the progress I have made since I last recorded. So I finished the mohair section here, and then this was a garter stripes section, and now I am into the lace portion. So I am into the second to last section on this shawl. So the lace portion, which I have quite a few rows to go on this one because it's barely started. So a lace section and then another garter stripe portion, and then it will be time for bind off. So I am making progress. I would have liked to have gotten a little bit more done, but that's okay. Longer rows, right? So I know I'm holding it upside down, but hopefully you get the idea. I am loving the brightness here. The yarns I am using, the bright pink fingering weight yarn, is by Fiber Me This in the Jaja colorway, and the pretty cotton candy fluffy mohair is by Pineapple Yarns in the Fortunately Pink. This is a pattern on Ravelry called Grapefruit because the original sample was made in a very grapefruity coral type of yarn. So I think that's probably why the designer chose that name. And the designer is Gabrielle Imbault. Not sure if I'm saying that correctly. Triangle shawl. Absolutely loving it. Getting so excited that we're getting close to the end of this. Enjoying it a lot, but I'm ready for new projects and new challenges. So I said last week that I hope to be done with this by the end of May. That is absolutely my goal. So I am really hopeful that I can stick with that. All right, I did not put any work into the little green baby dress this past week. I guess it hasn't even been a full week, so no progress on that. I think I maybe did a round, maybe half a round. So it is so close too. So I just need to crank the rest of that out this coming week, and then I can hopefully show that very soon. But my next work in progress goes along with our Spring Stripes make along. So I have two Stripy projects that I am working on. So the first is a crochet project, and it is called the Sweet Blossom Blanket. Let me see if I can hold this up. There we go. All right, so this is actually a crochet along that is going along right now. Sirdar, S-I-R-D-A-R Yarn Company is hosting a crochet along for this blanket. And if you remember, I've had some trouble with acquiring yarn for this blanket, and then last week I was not able to download part number 2 or section number 2 of this little Afghan. But after much trying on different browsers, I contacted the company, and they were very kind and just sent me the PDF directly to my email. So I was very glad that I can have the pattern. And by the way, section 3 came out today. I was able to download that, no problem at all. So I'm not sure what was going on last week, but I'm on track now. But I am only on section 1, and I am absolutely loving this because the sections are very small and you are getting a bunch of different stitches and textures. It is written in UK terms, but they do give the US crochet terminology in parentheses. So the white section is where I started. That is just single crochet. This pink section is called the griddle stitch, and it's alternating, and this is a free pattern, so I can talk about this. The griddle stitch, which I'd never heard it referred to that way, but it's alternating single crochets and double crochets, and then it's opposite on the way back. They're calling this the V-stitch section. And then these bobbles, I am so excited about these bobbles. I had my virtual knitting this week on Tuesday. I have a group that I have been meeting with, since 2013. And we were in person, but we have been virtual for the last year. And one of the gals is a master crocheter, and she made all of these baptism blankets for our church. Hi, Lois. That had these beautiful bobbles on them. And I tried that pattern and I could not get my bobbles to work. But look at this. Can you see that row of bobbles? They are so good and I'm so happy. So I was able to show Lois that over our virtual knit meeting, and that was really nice. So bobbles, and then the green is back to just single crochets, and now we are on a granny stripe section. And it's going to alternate a bunch more colors in here too. So lots more colors to come. But I started this on Saturday, so officially to start with the make along. So I'm pretty happy with the progress that I have made on this. And it's really fun to be doing a little bit of crocheting every day. The yarn I am using, let's see, I have some back here. The yarn that I'm using for this project is Scheepjes Color Crafter. I did order this on Jimmy Beans. It is an acrylic wool. It is a DK weight. It is very, very soft. It says anti-pilling on it, so I'm hoping it will wear really well. It's not a terribly wide Afghan, So it's going to be more of a lap size, but there is a wider border that will go around the blanket. Yeah, so very, very happy and just enjoying these bite-sized sections of different stitches. It just makes it really fun and interesting. All right, my next work in progress is also for our Spring Stripes Mal, and this is a knit project, and I wanted to make sure I did a stripy sock because I love self-patterning or self-striping sock yarn. And I talked last week that I was going to try the heel toe do-si-do pattern by Kay of the Crazy Sock Lady. I had talked about how I had made this pattern before and had trouble with it being too tight. I had 4 yarns last week that I was going to choose one of those to try this pattern with. And so I chose the thickest of the yarns. This yarn is by Dye For You. She is a Canadian dyer. And let me show you what I have so far. Isn't that fun? I absolutely love those stripes. I particularly like that blue in there, that really bright blue. I think that is so, so fun. And I don't know if it's picking it up, but this creamy section here has some little blips and specks of color in it too. I see some oranges, and on the back side, some yellows. So the front side is patterned, and then the back side is just plain stockinette. I am going with a US size 1 and still sticking with my 64 count because it is definitely one of the thickest sock yarns I have worked with before. Different than any that I have used. It is an 80-20 blend, which I have used before, but it's a plumper yarn. It's 110 grams and 420 yards. I have tried it on, so I can get it over my heel, so that's fine. I think when I get down to the heel flap, I will increase my rows for the heel flap. So if you're a non-knitter watching this, it's not probably going to make any sense. And I know there are some of you, so hello to you out there. But for the heel, typically when I do 64 stitches, you know, there are a certain number of rows that I would do for the heel flap. I think for the heel flap, I will actually increase to the next biggest size. So that's going to give me a little bit more room in my heel and gusset area, and hopefully will work over my heel. But I will be trying it on as I go along. So that is the progress I have made on that. Like I said, the yarn is Dye For You. This is called, let's see, it's called Cozy Up with JoJo. That is the colorway. And this dyer dyed yarns kind of based on the Cozy Up Knits podcast. 4 sisters who live in Canada who are knitters. Their mom is a knitter. Her name is JoJo. And JoJo makes bags too. So my sock is being housed in this bag, which she made. So Bags by JoJo. She is JoJo Bags by Jody on Etsy. And it really is the perfect sock size. I think it would be great for a hat project too, or mittens. But you can see these colors really go along nicely with the bag. Yeah, I just think that is so fun. All right, so those are my 2 things that I am working on for the Stripes Mal. So again, I'd love to have you join us if you're interested in knitting anything or crocheting anything, weaving anything stripy. We're just having fun talking over there a little bit in the Ravelry group. So the chatter section, even if you just like to come along and chat about what projects you might like to make or share photos of works in progress of stripy things or self-striping yarns, that would be great. All right, so that's it for my works in progress. I guess I will go into some things that showed up in my mailbox this week. This first one was maybe a couple weeks ago that I did not show. This is a fun gradient yarn. This is by Knit Circus, and this is 100% superwash blue-faced Leicester. I don't know exactly how to say that wool, and I've never used that blend before, so I wanted to give it a try. You can see it's a gradient, so you can go green and then go inward to the cream, or pull from the center and knit out that way. I was inspired to purchase this. I saw a design that was made with a different gradient yarn, the same company, and let me show you that pattern on Ravelry. It is called Snow and Mistletoe. I'm always thinking Christmas, aren't I? So I hope you can see that. It is a cowl, and that lace looks like little snowflakes. Let me show you another. Well, there it is in a different gradient, which is really pretty. And there's what the cowl would look like, you know, scrunched up softly, folding on your neck. So I saw that pattern. I thought that was beautiful. The pattern designer is, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce her last name right, but it's Jennifer Rundhaug. And she is a podcaster also on YouTube called, her podcast is the Driftless Knitting Podcast. And she also works for Knit Circus Yarns. This colorway is called Let It Snow. So I'm hoping probably to make that cowl at some point this year and perhaps give that away as a Christmas gift. So stay tuned for that. So that might be making an appearance later this year. The other is my April color from Knitterly Things sock club. So if you are a part of her self-striping yarn club and don't want to see this, just look away. But this is the April installment, and it's called Practically Perfect. And I got it on her Stellina base, which is different than other Stellina bases. This is 75% superwash merino, 23% nylon, and 2% Stellina. It says Stellina sparkle. But plenty of sparkle in there. And I really like that fun blue color, just like I liked in that sock. So maybe my thoughts are turning towards blue right now. I just really love color. I really love color. So that should be a fun self-striping yarn. And then the last thing I have to show you is a sock set that I got from Knitty McPurly. So it came packaged separately. So these minis are to use for a sock design by Devin Ventry of Knitty McPurly. And it is called, let's see, Modern Rainbow Socks #1. So maybe not your typical rainbow colors, but very fun. Let me show you what these socks look like. I think these are super fun. So these would also go along great with our spring stripes Mal. Aren't those fun? And I hope we can see her yellow shoes. They make it all that much more fun. So I would totally wear those yellow shoes. That is so much fun. Yeah, so that sock pattern and these skeins, mini skeins, came for that pair of socks. I don't know if I will get to this right away, but hopefully sometime this summer. I think that would be really fun to work on those striped socks. And it came packaged really cute. It came in this little canvas bag, and she's got her homemade little leather tag that says Knitty McPurly. And in her kits, she includes little stitch markers. So it's a little rose gold tin, and in it she has rose gold, the Edison light bulb stitch markers, which are great. Yeah, so that little sock kit came actually today. So that was fun. I got to share that with you. All right, something a little different for today. I was tagged on Instagram by Louise of Adventures with Yarn. She has a podcast. I really enjoy her podcast a lot. Hi, Louise, if you're watching. I got to know Louise a little bit because I participated in one of her make-alongs last year. She did a Frozen make-along, so she loves the movie Frozen, and I made a couple pairs of socks based on the movie Frozen, the colorways. So I've gotten to know her a little bit, but she tagged me to answer some Yarny questions or fiber questions. And she did this as an Instagram TV video thing. I'm really not technological, guys, sorry. And I kind of wrote, oh, Louise, I don't know, I've never done that. And she's like, oh, you can do it on your podcast. So here goes. So if you would like to use these questions and answer them on Instagram or answer them on your podcast or even take them to your knitting group, whether you're in person or virtually, just some fun Yarny questions maybe to think about. So I have not put thought into these ahead of time. So I just jotted them down when I watched her video last week. So here we go. And so you see if you can guess some of these, like the first one. What is your favorite color of yarn? Pink, just like you, Louise. I do love pink. I really do love all colors. I love color. My closet, I kind of say, or maybe my daughter says, it looks like a clown threw up in it because I love color. So I have a lot of colorful shirts. I have a lot of florals in my closet. I love the colors. So, but I would have to say at this point, my favorite color is pink. Favorite weight of yarn. I probably would have to say the fingering weight, you know, one of the lightest weights of yarn. I would say that, or DK weight. Those are the two that I really enjoy knitting with the most. Crocheting, I'm not sure, but knitting definitely with fingering weight or DK weight. Favorite style of yarn. I'm not really sure if that means speckled or striped or tonal. I love all yarn. My husband glanced at this when he was home for lunch. He's like, yeah, you love it all, Carla. Oh, how are you going to answer? Like, I do. I love it all. I love speckled. I love, you know, beautiful tonals. I love the self-striping, self-patterning. Okay, next one. Favorite fiber. I would have to say merino wool or merino wool nylon blend for socks. I have used some alpaca. I really like that, although that is a fiber that makes me feel a little itchy. But I do love the softness of alpaca. Favorite brand of yarn you can get in the USA? Well, I don't know if this would be like commercial brand of yarn or a dyer. I'm not sure that I would say that I absolutely have a favorite. Yeah, I don't know about that one. Favorite brand you cannot get in the US. I will talk about this. Probably some indie dyers out there that are not in the US that of course you can order from them, but sometimes it's cost prohibitive. I love Yarn by Molly of A Homespun House. There are some UK dyers that I would love to try. Spectrum Fiber, Beehive yarns, just beautiful yarns out there. Yeah. Favorite brick and mortar store. I have not been to a whole lot of knitting stores. We don't have a whole bunch here in Nebraska. Luckily for us, or luckily where I live, there are 5 of them within an hour and a half of where I live. So 5 of them. So that is good. But that is it that exists for our state as far as I know, with the exception of Brown Sheep Yarn Company way out west. But there are 5 around here. My favorite one would have to be Imagine It. That is a yarn store in Omaha, Nebraska, where sometimes my virtual knitting group or my knitting group have taken field trips to go to Omaha because there's 3 yarn stores there. But imagine it as a very cute store. It was expanded a couple years ago, so lots of room for more goodies in there. And the owner is also named Carla, which is very sweet, but she is just a joy to be around, and she's very warm and welcoming. Yeah, it's a very, very fun store. So it's making me a little nostalgic for that. So I kind of want to take a yarn trip to Omaha now. Favorite online store. Oh gosh, that is so hard. I think, Louise, like you said, I will probably say Etsy because I can find all kinds of beautiful yarn on Etsy. Usually if I have a project or a specific color, you know, I will put in, like, we'll just say pink speckled hand-dyed yarn, you know, and a bunch of stores come up. So I am not super partial to any certain store. I'm very drawn to, you know, to whatever I see on Etsy. So there's lots of yarn dyers on Etsy. You know, a lot of yarn dyers also have their own websites, which is wonderful. I will say I really have liked Stress Knits Yarn. That is one of the yarn advent calendars that I had last year. And yeah, I've got this on my quilt rack. I made this blanket with Stress Knits Yarn, which seems a little different for me because I am, you know, definitely knitting with bright with bright colors, but I do find Stacy's yarns very, very soothing and calming, and so maybe I need that balance too. So I would definitely say Stress Knits Yarn. I enjoy her yarn. Yeah, I really do love love a lot of yarn. Do you keep scrap yarn? Yes, I have a big tote, you know, plastic box in my craft room that has scraps in it, and those scraps kind of tend to go out of the box too, so there's other bags that have scrap yarn. So yes, absolutely keep scrap yarn. What is your favorite thing to knit with? So I guess I'm assuming they mean needles, because obviously you knit with yarn. So your favorite thing to knit with. For socks, I use the Hiya Sharps. I do enjoy those best. I do that on Magic Loop. For my shawls and other projects, some Hiya's, but I also really love the Addy Turbo Rocket Turbo needles. So those are the needles that I really enjoy knitting with. So circular needles, I don't really use, you know, the long needles anymore, and maybe a lot of us don't anymore. If you could knit one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be? I guess I would have to say socks. I would, gosh, if for the rest of my life I just knit socks, I probably would have a lot, wouldn't you? And what would you use? Well, I would have to use sock yarn. But if I could only knit with one weight of yarn for the rest of my life, I would say fingering weight, because I think that's very versatile. You can use the fingering weight for socks. You can use it for shawls. You can hold fingering weight double to get a different weight of yarn to make sweaters. So I just think the fingering weight yarn is a very versatile yarn and could be used in many things. So that is the end of those questions. Just kind of some fun things to think about. So if you'd like to use those, that would be great. I'm going to tag you, Colleen, with all the Stitches with Colleen on YouTube. If you'd like to answer those questions, feel free to do so. Pretty fun. All right, just a little bit of chatter to finish out this episode. So I am finished with school now. Yesterday was the final keyboard exam, and there was a picnic at nighttime. I submitted my grades this morning, so I am done another semester closed in the books. So looking forward to summer, although it really does not feel like summer at all today. Low 60s, cold and a little rainy around here possibly. So, but summer vacation nonetheless. So lots of time for knitting and crocheting fun. On Friday, I got a call unexpectedly asking if I could play the organ this weekend. And so someone needed me to play the organ for them, so I did. So I ended up playing for 3 church services this weekend. So a lot of practice time went in Friday night, Saturday night, and then church services Saturday night and Sunday. So when that spring stripes make-along started on Saturday, I wasn't really able to go at it gung-ho, but now I'm striping right along. All right, and the reason I'm recording early, I've shared before that we like to sail, and it is time to get our sailboat ready to put into the lake. So my husband emailed the marina, the docks are in. So now we have to get that boat from the storage lot, and we put a lot of cleaning into it. So cleaning and waxing and polishing, and Jeff has been doing some little projects, restaining wooden parts of the boat. So we will be doing that tomorrow and Friday. So this is the big time for boat. So we clean, polish it, get it all set, and then we tow it to the lake, which is about 25 to 30 minutes away from here. And then it takes some time to rig the boat up with the masts and the sails, and then put it in the water. So that will be our project for Thursday and Friday this week. That's why I recorded a little bit early so I could still get a podcast out. So thank you so much for joining me today. Those of you who have been following, or if it's your first time, thank you so very much for stopping by and listening to some crafty chat with me. I hope that you have all been well and had a good week, and I wish you well this week, and happy knitting, crocheting, or whatever brings you joy. Take care. Bye-bye.